You are at the From Likes to Livelihood, the journey of social media influencing. We have a wonderful panel here today to talk about what it is to be a social media influencer. I am Rebecca Cooney, professor of strategic communication here at WSU, finishing up year 14, and I see some familiar faces. Hello, everybody. Really excited to be here. It's so fun to be celebrating 50 years of Murrow Symposium. And today we're going to explore how the timeless values are being lived out in the newest frontiers of media. In our session, as I said, it's called From Likes to Livelihood, the journey of social media influencing. And we've all seen the headlines, of overnight, viral sensations. We're gonna talk about that a little bit, because as any communicator in the room knows, a lasting career isn't built on a single lucky post that goes nuts, right? But it's built on strategy, relentless consistency, and a deep understanding of your audience, things that we teach. So today we're going to talk about the crafting of content creation, the business of personal branding, and how to maintain your integrity in a world of algorithms. So a quick, little roadmap of how we're going to operate today. We're going to start with some brief intros. We're going to let them introduce themselves. We're going to talk about different things in discussion with our experts. I also cleared it with the panel, except Destiny, hope it's okay. We're going to go ahead and allow questions as they come up. Okay, so we will try it. I'll be mindful. I got a little clock here. I'll be watching. But we think that let's keep this conversational, let's keep this engaging. So if you've got questions, throw up that hand and speak loud. Powerhouse group today, from wedding industry veterans to global digital strategists to creators currently walking the halls of WSU, Braydon. We're excited. Let's welcome our panel. All right. Are you ready, my friends? Let's go for introductions. Start off with you, Lori.
Good afternoon. My name is Losee. I am a 2001 Murrow graduate in the print journalism track. I was a former newspaper reporter and editor, turned wedding planner. I own Elegant Affairs. And then in 2020 during COVID, I pivoted and started the Social Attendant, where I do social media management, virtual assisting, and business consulting for wedding professionals. I currently live in Graham, Washington, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by my youngest, Jackson Losee. He is a freshman broadcasting major, and I also have a junior who is a secondary ed major.
Hello, my name is Braydon Morgan. I am a senior here at Washington State University, and I started overall leads in a class, which is now my full side hustle. I grew it to a little over 200,000 followers within a year, and I do it as kind of my in to hopefully what's going to be my next steps. But yeah.
Hello, my name is Destiny Liley, class of 2016. I'm currently a senior video producer for a small marketing agency. We make tons of ads, background, Amazon, BuzzFeed, Google, you name it. And then currently an influencer on the side as well, just making content for things to do, based out of Phoenix, Arizona, currently. So.
Wonderful. Excellent. So excited that you're all here. We're going to start off with a question about the fact that our attention spans are shrinking. So what is your personal sort of secret sauce for grabbing someone's attention in the first 3 seconds of a video or post?
I got something.
Go for it.
So the word algorithm is triggering, I feel like. If you make social media content, you're like, oh, the algorithm's changing again. My biggest piece of advice is the algorithm goes where the people are going. So no matter what the algorithm is doing, I feel like as long as you're making content that speaks to you or that is true to you and people are following it, the algorithm will follow it. So I try not to worry too much about, make sure you open your video like this, or, there's so much out there that's overwhelming, but make what you're passionate about and the algorithm will follow.
All right, go
ahead.
And
I think for me, the biggest thing is to realize that Instagram, social media is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So that's the biggest thing I tell my clients is that, yes, you can have a viral post that will be viral for 1 to 2 weeks or a few months, but it's kind of that longevity that you really need to work on. And I think the biggest thing in creating Reels, YouTube, anything like that is having a good hook and making sure that you're speaking to your direct ideal client and not kind of the masses. So once you kind of find out what your niche is to really speak to them.
Yeah, I would kind of piggyback off that. I agree. I also found that it's really easy to kind of like, you should script whatever your content is, but I found that if you're just very clear and to the point within the first 3 seconds, so that when people are watching your video, they know what they're getting right away, they're either gonna stay because they want to know what you're gonna get, or they're just gonna scroll, which you don't want them anyway. That's not your target persona.
I think that is amazing. And I realize that one of the things that maybe we should start with before we go too far into all these questions is talk a little bit about your platform, how it got started, and maybe how fast it grew. I'm curious. Anyone else curious? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, for me, so I kind of came late into the game. Obviously, when I started my wedding planning business, it was just Facebook. Instagram did not exist, so please don't do the math and try to figure out how old I am. And slowly, again, once you find who your niche client is, I know who my ideal client is. And really, again, like I said earlier, targeting them. I don't have the biggest reach as Braydon, but my thing is, it's no disrespect because you do amazing stuff. When I look for my business, it's more of converting those clients into paid clients. I love when people just kind of search everything, but at the end of the day, I would like big amounts of money from them. And then with my other clients, really, I really tell them too, it's not the follower count, it's the engagement, and sliding into their direct messages and emailing them and having phone conversations. I think that's the biggest thing. So for me, yes, the follower count is awesome, and I would love to have a huge follower count. But again, it comes down to I want to be speaking to my ideal client.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I actually think that we do have two different things here where I'm probably really good at I like to look at the view number go up by a lot amount, and I don't look at a ton at exactly like that person-to-person contact because I started it as like a school assignment. It was like, hey, how much engagement can you get when you start this initiative? And I'm on the opposite. I love Instagram. I hate Facebook. I cannot do Facebook. It's easier now because I think it just takes your video from Instagram and puts it to Facebook, so I don't have to do it as much. But I've focused a lot more on like making a video engaging, because at the end of the day, all the algorithms that blow up videos care about how long a person is going to view your video. If they view it longer than 5 seconds, then you like actually have a hit, which is just interesting if you're trying to grow a number, but it is very different if you're trying to like reach that specific person.
So I think I'm kind of like a middle between the two of you about like where I fall. I kind of started with social media or making content. I used to live in LA and I moved to Phoenix during COVID. My parents moved there, my mom's here. And I did not want to move there. I absolutely hated everything about Arizona. I'm like, this place is hot, it's boring, it's dry, everyone is old. I hate it here. And so one day I picked up my phone and I said, I live in Arizona and I hate it here, but like here's a cool coffee shop. And it just blew up and everyone's like, wait, I hate it here too. So that's kind of where kind of how I took off. And to answer your question, I think within a year I hit like maybe 60,000 like across platforms. So I didn't at first it was like a lot of death threats of like, oh, get out, of Arizona. But then it turned into like, I also hate it. And then it turned into, I moved here and you helped me find so many things, or you helped me move here. And that kind of has turned into working with boards of, visitor tourism boards of Arizona, et cetera, getting more into the state. So I look at a mix of both likes and follows, and then also engagement with those personal connections. So it's kind of a happy balance of both for me.
All right. Any questions about origin story before we move on?
How did you deal with the death threats?
You just ignore the death threats. I mean, yeah, you just have to listen. Engagement is engagement. So I'll take it.
Love it. Anyone else? Origin story questions? All right. So we're gonna dig right into AI, folks. Let's go. Okay. So we know that AI is happening, but curious how you're actually using it in your daily workflow, whether it is for brainstorming, content creation, editorial calendar. How are you using AI? Because I talk about it a lot in my classes and got a real mixed bag of love, hate. So let's hear it.
You want to start?
You can start, yeah, go for it.
I use it a lot, actually.
Yeah,
a lot of it is ideating. I'll look through, the biggest thing that I take like information from is I look what other people are doing, especially in your niche. And if you find something that's working, You can piggyback off it, although you shouldn't copy it because that's bad. We learned that in school. But if you throw it into AI to help you come up with unique ways to throw your own spin on it, it makes like looking at a specific idea a lot less daunting because it can give you so many ideas on what to make or throw some spins on it. So yeah, I use it for a lot of ideation.
I was going to say I also use it for ideation. To your point, when you hop onto social media and you're just scrolling and you see so many variations, you're like, how can I make mine different? So AI is helpful for that. I also use AI for captions because sometimes my brain is fried and I'm like, hey, I just went to this really cool Mexican restaurant. Write me some caption options. And though I may not use them verbatim, it can kind of spark some ideas about like inspiration for how to use it there.
I love AI. Sienna is my AI bot for ChatGPT. It is probably the best thing since sliced bread for me. Going from content creation to reels, scripts, ideas. I use it for editorial calendars. I mean, whatever you can think of, AI can do for you. It's amazing. I mean, I've talked to so many different AI experts within the wedding industry field and just AI experts in general. And it really comes down to creating those prompts that is going to get you the best output. And I think that's probably the biggest frustration with most people. They put in like, please write me a caption about a wedding. Well, that's not going to give you anything to search for, and you're just like, okay, well, where do I go from? So I think over probably the last 2 to 3 years, I've really come down to how to hone in on creating that perfect prompt. And I also work with that with my clients too. So I think I've pretty much mastered ChatGPT. Now I'm working on Claude, and if you guys have any other good ones, I'm all for it. So.
Okay, so I'm personally really excited to hear you normalize AI in this respect. So can you just, and it's not on our list, sorry. I'm just curious though, how do you maintain authenticity and an authentic voice in the space of AI?
I think for me personally, I've taught my AI bot to sound exactly like me. It took a long time to figure that out on what my brand voice is, what my style is, and really, looking at all my captions, all my content, looking at my website. I've been in the wedding industry for 20 years, so really using my expert experience and expertise and everything, but really I want my content to sound like me and or my clients. So that's, when I onboard clients, that's probably the biggest component of my onboarding is to get their sense of voice. And again, I'm not copying and pasting straight from ChatGPT or Claude. I'm using it as a reference tool. Probably 95% I'm using it. But again, AI is not 100% accurate. And I'm going for more SEO perspective and making sure that I'm being searched at the end of the day for not only myself, but for the companies I work for. But again, really identifying how you speak and how you write, because obviously people write and speak differently. But again, it's kind of, choose your own venture and, use AI as, discretion first and foremost.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I use AI for a lot of back-end stuff, but what is consistent about my platform is I voice over almost every video, and I try to work myself into at least a little bit of every video, although I still struggle with that. And I never have AI write my voiceovers, just because over time I think that I'm going to lose authenticity, and I'm a little bit worried that it sound too robotic. And although it's only 15 to 20 second videos, I like to come up with the quirky little voiceovers that I use. And I think that's something that probably won't change.
Yeah, just quick note, piggybacking off of both of them. I think if anyone has used ChatGPT, I say this with all due respect, can be a bit of a kiss ass. You can put anything in there and they're like, that's a great, and you're yeah, that's a great idea, but can you help, So I think just to Lori's point, finding kind of those words, or I look for certain words. It's I can't think of the word, or I can't think of how do I make Margarita Monday sound excited besides them saying Margarita Monday? They'll give you great options, but keeping your voice and not copying verbatim, because you can tell.
And I think one last thing, which Destiny hit perfectly, I think, you can always ask ChatGPT, make this sound as human as possible and get rid of those buzzwords. I hate the word magic or life-changing, life-altering. Yes. So again, it's really training your AI bot to sound as human and as like you as possible.
Anyone else have AI questions? Okay. I think you do. But we'll keep going. Everyone's afraid. All right, so if you could use only one app or tool besides the social platforms themselves to run your entire digital presence. Which one is it and why?
I know mine. I use Notion. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Notion. I started my current company that I work for. We make ads for YouTube, TV, WNBA, NFL, NBA. And when I first joined, they were like, use Notion. I was like, this is stupid. I was like, what is, like, I do not like this. Finally, I sat down, had some time with it, and now I use it in my personal life. But I have like a editing calendar for like days I'm editing. I have a posting calendar for days and times I'm posting. I have a filming calendar for days I'm filming. And it just kind of helps me keep everything organized. So probably Notion for me.
For me, I'm actually a little bit less like tech savvy when it comes to like automating a lot of what I do. I love the Apple Notes app. I use the Apple Notes app so much, whether it's like checklists to script writing to the recipes that I actually make. I'll put everything in, like it's organized in Notes, but it's definitely not as like fancy as Notion. I've used Notion before and I probably should upgrade a little bit, but I love the Notes app.
For me, I'm really old school. I love Google Suite. I love creating my own templates. I know I could probably find something a lot easier and I don't have to reinvent the wheel, but I've learned over the years I like to identify and create something that's personally for me and for my clients. And I think for my clients specifically, they enjoy it because they know I'm doing the work and not, a third-party app.
All right. So for the students in the room, what would you say is the moment that you realized this wasn't a hobby anymore, but a business?
Honestly, I could take this one. So, I started it as just like a school project, and I kind of made it pretty fun. Like I didn't really I just wanted an A, to be honest. And then the first moment that I realized that this was getting a little bit bigger was when my teacher said something on it, and I was like, at this point in time, I was kind of putting whatever in my videos. That I was like, okay, maybe I should take this a little more seriously if professionals are actually seeing this. And so that's kind of when I realized that this might be a little bit more. And then probably my first brand, I put my email in my bio, and then people would start reaching out and be like, hey, we'll send you free stuff, or hey, we want to pay you to promote our product. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. This seems pretty fun. But yeah, that's probably mine.
I was going to say, same for me. I think, again, because the bulk of my content was eating out at restaurants, and I would me and my girlfriends were already going out for dinner and drinks. I'm like, hey, can I film your food before you eat it? I was trying to kind of get it, just, we're out, let me film it, post it. And I think for me, when someone reached out and was like, we'll pay you. I'm like, to eat? To eat? What? So that's when I was like, oh, let me button it up a little bit. Let me be a little more professional. So yeah, I think once money becomes involved, you're like, okay, this is a business. So. Yeah.
I think for me, it was 2018. I had been doing social media for my own business, and a lot of my wedding vendor friends were like, "Oh my God, we hate Instagram, but we know we have to use this for our business because it's a free, online portfolio essentially." And so I was like, "Okay." And then it kind of got around the Seattle wedding industry, like, "Hey, Lori with Elegant Affairs does social media." Which was a great thing, and kind of, it was kind of hard because I had too many people reach out. And then the Seattle wedding industry is a large industry, but it's also very small, so you can't work with many people. So you kind of had to limit it to one category. But then, again, when I pivoted and started reaching out to clients that were in the South where COVID restrictions did not hit them, so weddings continued on, unlike here in Washington State, it really blew up, and then I expanded into everything else with my company, and it's just one of those things where you just never know when something's going to hit, and you're going to get referred to other people, whether it's brand deals, partnerships, or new clients that you're doing their social media for.
So it's a little off book again, but I lead a workshop on finding your voice on social media, and as part of that, we talk about building personal brand. I don't want to go into the weeds of personal brand, but as you're finding your presence, you're growing and you're catching fire. What did you develop a logo? Did you develop a visual identity, essentially fonts, color scheme? What did you do to kind of lock in, your brand, essentially? I'm just curious what your journey there was.
For me, when I started Elegant Affairs back in 2005, the whole idea of branding really wasn't a thing. It was like, do you have a website? Do you have a Facebook page? And then just slowly over the years, it evolves to you really have to create that full branding suite. So when I started the Social Attendant, I really came up with what do I want the social attendant to say, not only about myself, the people that work for me, and how I want to speak to my ideal client. So coming up with, fonts, color palettes, a primary logo, secondary logo, and making sure that's implemented through everything. And then we just went through our first rebranding a few months ago, and so it's been really interesting to see where the evolution of branding has come from. And I think that's the one biggest thing is, creating your personal brand is huge, and it's not something to take lightly, and to really put a lot of thought into that.
For me, I thought about it a lot, actually, kind of like when I was between 50 and 100, because I would look at all these people who are also in the space, and they have a clear branding. They have the same typography. All their clickbait titles all look the same, and so I kind of really got in my head about I need to really secure this before I move on or keep creating. When I actually think that it helped to kind of pick stuff that you liked, so whatever font, whatever typography font you want, pick the colors you like, and then just keep creating, because I felt like getting really heavily obsessed with, again, the typography I was using, the specific colors I was going to put over my videos, kind of held me back from the flow that I had, that eventually I just kind of fell into, again, the stuff that I liked. That it kind of felt like my brand found me more than I picked my brand. That's how I would say that.
I love that. Yeah, for me, I feel like I started making content in the world where it was everything has to be aesthetic, and your tiles have to be, and I'm I don't have time for that. Just post the content, truly. So my brand is actually no brand and no niche. And I think to Braydon's point of just being authentically you, I think my brand is just that I'm unhinged, and you're just gonna come with me in the streets of Arizona, and we're gonna just see what we get into. I'm going on a date today, I'm going to dinner tomorrow, come with me. It's just kind of the brand. But I think maintaining something you can maintain is important. Do not be someone you're not, because it's gonna be exhausting when you have to turn that camera on. So be yourself, and that should be your brand. It should be natural and comfortable every time you make content.
Well, and people can see right
Yes.
away if you are not authentic and
Yeah.
not comfortable.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing, is you got to be who you are.
Yeah, and how stressful to be oh my God, time to put on, just be you.
Well, I think too, it's when you create Instagram Reels, when I first started, you record it 20 different times, and you're okay, now I have it memorized, now I sound like a computer.
Yep.
And honestly, when I work with my clients, I tell them they want to see the behind the scenes. They want to see the authentic you. They don't want those perfectly captured videos. They want those little nuggets that who speak to them as a client, and also who they want to hire as a vendor. They don't want those perfect images. They want to say, this is what happened at a wedding. It's not all, roses and champagne. Sometimes there's, some bad fertilizer going on, so.
Okay, let's talk about engagement. So you're going to have the good ones, the bad ones, the trolls. So maybe just share a little bit about what you've experienced around, I think maybe some positive side, and what's been really sort of elevating and motivating versus the comments or engagement that make you want to quit.
Yeah, for me, I still struggle with imposter syndrome a ton, where you'll post a video and it tanks. And the worst is when you post a video and it does so well that you have all this pressure to put another video out and make it just as good or a little bit better. But most of the time, it's not gonna be, because again, the algorithm, it's not exactly an equation that if you punch in the right numbers, it's going to pump out a perfect video. It's a little bit of luck, and it's not all luck, but it's a little bit of luck. And so kind of disassociating yourself from the numbers, especially views, especially likes, especially follows, and again, going back to making content that you enjoy to make, you're going to make better content than making content that you think is going to perform.
Yeah, I agree. And I think for me personally, again, we talked about the trolls and everyone telling me to, get out of Arizona, which the haters, I feel it excites me. I don't know. I'm listen, hate on me. But I think some of the more positives for me is that keeps me going, especially to the point of you do post videos and sometimes you put all your effort in and it gets 200 views and you're cool, great. But I try to take that positive and remember that's 200 people. I can't even name 200 people. You know what I mean? It's that's 200 people that might have seen your content. So that keeps me going. And then some of the messages I get from people just saying hey, thank you for this, or you really helped me through a hard time. I moved here and hated it, or I'm like you, and or I also try hobbies and just random activities around the state. So getting messages of people being I do it because you showed me it was safe to do it, and that's just really important to me for all types of different groups. So I think the representation is what keeps me going.
I think for me, I don't give any credence to any trolls. I mean, those are people that have no lives, that just want to make other people feel bad, and I just kind of laugh off. I mean, it took me a long time to realize that I don't, and they're very one-off for me, so I laugh and I remove it. I get more upset if with my clients if somebody says something, or usually when they're attacking their physical appearance, that's where I kind of take it a little bit more. But just kind of like Destiny, it's the positive messages that you get from people saying, oh, I love the tip that you shared, or I run a wedding planner academy, and people are like, I was able to go full-time in my wedding planner academy or wedding planning life and quit my full-time job to do this. So I just feel like when I can be inspirational to people, that's the biggest takeaway for me.
Any questions? Yeah, go.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I can't even find time to Instagram anymore, even though I'm shooting all kinds of pictures. So I'm wondering, how does that affect your personal life, always kind of being on? Because that is your professional life. So where do you draw the line? When do you go, oh, I don't need to publish this. This is actually just for me. Or do you always say, everything I do is money?
Yes,
Well,
that's for sure, right?
I don't know. It's kind of a fine line because everything that we do is money in some regards. But for me personally, at least, I think the back end, the editing, all that kind of stuff on the back end takes up a lot of my life. But I try to be really, really present when I'm out and about. When you miss a moment, you can't get it back. So I do film everything or take pictures of everything, and then we're done. Like, we're at dinner, I'm gonna get the food, we're gonna get the things, then I'm done, we're gonna enjoy it. It's like, I'm not, all my friends are like, you're the most chill influencer. Because I'm like, we don't need to record every second of every day. Like, let me get a quick clip, put the phone away, let's enjoy. So I try to be really good about being in the moment, but still getting what we need. So.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. I have it a little bit easier, I think, because my niche isn't lifestyle, where I feel like you guys are. Like, I feel bad you guys are kind of recording everything.
Yeah.
For me, it's actually like I have a schedule where, like, on literally Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll film a video. On Tuesday, Thursday, I'll edit the video, and then I'll post it the following day. And you'll see, I'm honestly never on my phone on Instagram unless I'm posting. I'll open my personal Instagram on my computer every now and then, but I have like a schedule that works for me, because again, it comes back to, it's not one quick video that you're gonna blow up and you're gonna become an influencer the rest of your life. It's like, if you want to do social media and make money from social media, you have to constantly be putting out content, and you can't like get obsessed with what performs and what doesn't, because again, it's a long game, it's not a sprint.
Yep. Yeah. And well, I think for me, my personal brand is a private Instagram account. You can probably ask my son. And I joke with my husband, I get paid to be on Instagram. So I kind of, he's like, you've been scrolling all night. And I'm like, well, I get paid for it. But again, it's just having that fine line of what you want to share with your followers, non-followers. I do share nuggets about myself on my own businesses. But usually just my personal brand is private, and I just keep it professional on my business accounts, and then personal on my personal accounts.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm curious when we talk about like AI and like search and like the SOE and things, and so like right now it's a big conversation between like self-expression and art, and does that equal content? I'm curious if you guys showing like so much of your lives, and when people are reaching out to you, like do you view the work as deep as like art? Is it like the self-expression part of it? I'm just curious for your guys' thoughts on that.
That's a really good question. I personally kind of went through when I was getting I went through a point where I was I was so obsessed with the numbers. All I wanted to do, all I focused on was trying to make a video do better than the last. And I can't remember where I heard this, but again, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I kind of hear a lot of advice from people who do this full time. And I remember this one that's always stuck with me, that is it's not that deep, especially if you do social media.
Yeah.
I'll make a video and I'll think, is this worth putting out there? Is this really my best work? But it's not that deep. Put it out there, because you might as well put it out, especially if you put time and effort into it, you might as well put it out there for people to see, because the worst case scenario is it just doesn't do that well.
Well, I think, art's defined by anybody. Art can be something to one person, it can be different to me. But I really like what you said. It's not that deep. And I think, because I come at from a different angle, I come from a more business rather than personal angle. So for me, I want to capture my client's essence and get that out there so they book clients, bring clients in. But again, there's that fine line of what is art, what is going too deep, what is crossing that line. But I personally have never gotten to that point. But again, it's just finding that clear boundary for me, what I feel like sharing and not sharing.
I feel like that's a good question. I think to your point, Lori, art kind of is subjective. I share everything online, so like there's nothing that's not online about my life. So I feel like it could be art to some degree. It just depends on like kind of how you view it. But all of my content, I almost forget sometimes that I post because it's like, oh yeah, come with me. We're going bungee jumping today, like, and I just post it and I forget about it and I like move on to the next thing. To Braydon's point about not obsessing over the numbers, but I guess it could be a form of art.
Good. Question about, yeah.
So I was wondering, how do you guys feel like you got through the mental roadblock of actually starting? Because obviously you have to start at 0 followers. I feel like there's that like sense of maybe like embarrassment when you first start because you're posting maybe like an influencer that no one's really listening yet. So I was just wondering how you get past that like starting out point.
Yeah, that's a really good question. For those of you who don't know, I make cooking content, and I started it for a class, but I was living in a frat. So I would have to go downstairs, because I lived on the 2nd floor, ask our frat chef if I could like get the key when he'd leave, so that I could cook late at night, so that people wouldn't like watch me. And so just because people would come in and like make a mess, and that was like the only time that I could like really start doing this thing for school. And I remember like at first I was like, what am I doing? This is so weird. But then as soon as you kind of do get like a little bit of traction, or you do get a DM, a super nice DM of like, hey, like what you made was like super good, and it started out like being super health oriented, and it was like, hey, I lost like X amount of pounds because I started following your page, and it's like those little nuggets of like inspiration that really kept me going. But at the beginning, it's kind of, you're gonna feel silly, especially if you're in front of the camera. That's a lot harder than making something that's not you. You kind of just got to get over that. And so, yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, that's great. I would say, I think you have to think about your why of why you want to make content.
Yeah.
So is it financial gain down the line? Is it fame? Is it you want to help people depending on what you want to make? Or is it you want to share your fashion, whatever it is? I think honing it on your why and being like, this is what I want, you will start to just not care. And I remember even to this day, sometimes people still like, I'll be filming and people are like giving you the side eye. And I'm just like, you want to be in the video, girl? Like, you want to be in? Like, I don't care. I'm like, you want to be in it? But I think part of it is just remembering when people do give you those crazy looks, a lot of times they wish they had the courage to film their life. So I just you just have to just do, I know everyone says post the content, which is so annoying, but it's like, think about your why, and then it'll drive you every time you turn the camera on.
And I think probably you guys can both agree that, when I first started doing Instagram specifically, you have that imposter syndrome. You're like, I see, my competitors and I love what they do. I want to create content that they do. So it's really humanizing to get over yourself and get over it's not about the views, it's not about the followers, it's about creating quality content that is going to resonate with your ideal client. And just kind of staying the course that way. But again, I think we all face the imposter syndrome, and it's still in my head. So it's hard to break that, but you just have to keep doing what you do, and just keep going. So and just know that what you're doing is best representing yourself.
A quick note too on that. I think something that when I first started that made me nervous, I started on TikTok and that kind of was blowing up, and I was like, well, let's get on Instagram and do both at the same time. I was a little bit nervous for Instagram personally because that's like my friends from high school, my family, your church, your pastor, all your people, and I'm like, ooh, like not grandma seeing the post. So if you do have, similar fears, maybe start on TikTok or start on a platform where no one knows you, and then you'll get that confidence and be like, I don't care if my grandma sees me at the club, whatever, whatever. But, start on a smaller platform, blow up there, and then you can kind of transfer over to those other platforms.
Or I went through that too, just to pick back up what you said, is like I have my personal Instagram, and like I feel like in today's day and age, everyone does, kind of going to college after high school. And I think if you want to start creating on social media, I would say just restart on just create a new account. Because if you post on your old account, you are going to have however many people that you follow who are friends and family that are probably not going to watch what you're making. So it's already going to tank your views. So you might as well start fresh, create a new account, which will give you like a brand new insight to the algorithm. And the algorithm is going to figure out who wants to watch your content and refeed it to those people. So you might as well start on a new account where no one's following you so that grandma doesn't see it. And then, I think the algorithm will take it if it's good content.
That's true, because you're not creating for your friends and family. That's something I learned the hard way. I'm like, wow, this is not for grandma. This is for the public or whoever, the fashion girls or the food people or whatever. So you're not creating for your immediate circle.
Well, you almost have two different audiences when
Yeah.
you look at TikTok. I feel like TikTok is less personal than Instagram. So, once you figure out you can use the same content or switch it up and figure out, okay, here's my ideal viewer or follower on TikTok is going to drastically be different on Instagram, which is very fascinating. So if you look into your statistics and look at all that, it blows your mind who's looking at your content. You're like, why aren't they following me on Instagram? It's such because it's such a different platform. People are looking for different things. So.
Another question.
I did have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if there's someone wanting to get in here, which platform do you start with? I mean, is Reels the place to be to get money, or is it YouTube? Like, the more, don't you get paid for views?
I mean-
So do you guys have a POV on that?
I know Braydon probably has a stronger POV. I think, again, when I started, TikTok was like the place. Right now, TikTok's struggling for me a little bit, but I still post there anyway. But the most money I've seen, I know YouTube, I'm hearing, is like the place to be, though it's longer form content and a little different. But when I first started, I was making the most money on TikTok. But now Instagram actually is where I'm making the most money or getting the most people seeing my content and reaching out for brand deals. But that's just me personally.
I think if you want to be an influencer, I think like one of the biggest skills that you can have is learning to like film a piece of vertical content. Because if you're an influencer, it's really short form content.
Yeah.
And then figuring out how to take that video and put it on literally every platform
Yeah.
will give you the greatest chance of blowing up. Because if you really focus on just TikTok, which I think is luckier than Instagram,
Yeah.
you're not going to have as great of a shot if you put it on Instagram, you put it on TikTok, you put it on Facebook, you can put it on YouTube Shorts, which is
Yep.
also pretty easy.
Yep.
And then there's all those like other ones too, and each one is kind of like a lottery ticket, or you're throwing a pin in a board, and if something sticks on one platform, it might not on another one, but at least one blew up. And so if you can put it on every platform, you're giving your chance the most. You're giving yourself the chance of best success.
Yep.
So I think it really comes down to what your niche is and where you really want to focus on. But I think specifically YouTube, that's something I'm really identifying with my clients and seeing, the long form content. But I think people get very overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, I'm used to filming vertical content, now I need to, film horizontal content. And I'm like, honestly, you just have two phones and have one vertical and one horizontal, and you're creating the same content on two different devices.
Go ahead.
Okay, maybe you're going to get there.
I'm just checking off everyone's questions that are on my list. That's okay.
Sponsors and how somebody might reach out.
That was my
to
next
for your
question.
money, but how do you make money from followers or posts or things?
So on Instagram, I haven't monetized my TikTok yet, just because that's not where my ideal client is. But with Instagram, with my clients, monetizing your account, accepting gifts, that's very rare in my industry. But I love seeing those checks come in every month for my clients. And it varies, but I think looking at all your different options, and you don't need to be verified, or now that you can pay like whatever it is to be verified on Instagram, which I think is baloney. But I mean, I've seen people that aren't verified and getting very large checks every month. But I think really it's looking at what's your why, and what are you looking to get out of it? If it's monetary. Or if it's products, services, things like that, it's figuring out what that is first.
For me, what I found is there's three main avenues for income. One of them is you're selling a product or service. So I think for you it's wedding planning, and for me it could be like a cookbook or like a subscription service. And then there's the views. So TikTok pays per view, but only if you hit like certain qualifications per video. You have to have like a minute long video, and then they'll pay you per view. And then there's the other big one, which is sponsors. So people who want to have you feature their product on your platform, which is probably like the biggest one for me, just because I don't really have like a clear product yet, and I don't really make minute-long videos. So I make most of my income from brands reaching out to me, being like, hey, I have this product that I want you to feature on your platform. So that's either like usually like pots or pans or like certain protein powders. And then they'll pay me either per view or a retainer, depending on how many videos it is.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? So I have a pretty decent following, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And I get offers, right? But I think they're all bots. So how do you know?
Yeah.
I have been scammed. I will say there's a lot of scammers out there.
A lot of
I
scam.
believe that I was going to Las Vegas like not that long ago to like speak. That did not happen. But as soon as like you kind of like go back and forth on an email chain, and then if you hop on a video call, that's how you know it's real.
Yes.
And there's a lot of weird products out there. I've been asked to do like eyelash like gadgets that you're supposed to sleep with like an eyelash mask to like, I don't know. And I was like, am I really the target audience that you want to be like marketing to? So there are a lot of weird products and services that people will pay you to promote, but some of them are fake, so watch out.
No.
And knowing what your brand is and what you align with. And I've gotten offers for a variety of products. But again, they don't align with my vision. And again, I always get, the first thing I do is when somebody offers to do a partnership or branding deal, it's jumping on a Zoom with them because I have been, not necessarily burned, but I invested way too much time with this person, set everything up, and then realized, yeah, they did not exist. Yeah.
Yeah, Brianna.
You mentioned having brands reach out to you, but have you had any experience reaching out to brands that you might, whether it's a local organization, businesses, things like that, and how have you done that? Have you created sort of a media kit? Have you pitched yourself, present yourself? If you have any experience doing that?
For me, similar to Braydon, I feel like a lot of my brand partnerships are inbound and they find me, which is I'm very lucky. But I have had a few that I've pitched myself for. I'm going to Coachella and I'm like, hey, like, do you want give me something, help me, can I go? But I do have a media kit. Honestly, I went on TikTok and typed in how to make a media kit and like looked at other people's media kits. AI is very helpful for that. And you just kind of similar to, I remember when I was like, about to graduate, I was so annoying on LinkedIn, being like, hi, I'm about to graduate, I need a job. You kind of have to be the same and be like, hey, I make content, give me something, please help me. So I feel like it's just the way I do it.
Yeah, for me, there's a lot of like the lower, especially like not startups, but there's a lot of like, especially with TikTok Shop now actually, people will try to affiliate you, they like throw it through you. The only ones that I've reached out for are brands that like I truly love and I truly want to work with. So like Nike or a couple like running shoes I've really reached out to. And again, yeah, most of them don't work out. Or it starts with a DM, be like, hey, I love your stuff. Like, and then they'll be like, shoot me an email if it goes forward. But most of them don't work out, and you kind of got to be annoying. If you really want to work with a brand, then that's kind of how you do it.
You have to,
Yeah, and I haven't reached out to anybody. It's all inbound for me too. So again, it's having that media kit, branding kit. I think that's going to be the most important thing. So they know what your vision is, who you want to work with, and kind of who your target audience is, and have your online portfolio on there too.
Right. So I think it kind of goes both ways. You think of yourself as products and companies or initiatives that you support and that you love and how you would love to be affiliated with them, right? So you might use a specific type of cookware or something that you love and you've had several videos go viral, but nothing, whether you were tagging that entity or not, and thought maybe I should reach out to them and say, hey, like I've had a few things go viral, I had a lot of people asking about your product. How can we work together?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think too is having a plan beforehand. I think if you're starting an Instagram account, TikTok, and you say, okay, I really want to do brand deals, sponsorships, and things like that, it's really being prepared. So if you do get that DM or that email or phone call, that you're prepared. You're not like, I don't know what that is. How do I get ready? Just because it's very interesting with the brand deals and the sponsorships and how specific they are with working with people, that you just have to be ready. And sometimes they want an answer like right away. It's not like we're not waiting 48 hours. It's like you got to tell me like now, and then we'll just move to the next person.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of things too, just to add to that. I mean, money's great. We love money, but also there's other things that you could get that aren't money or financial compensation. Like I'm sure you get a ton of free food, or like I have like Hungry Root. I work with Hungry Root and I make videos for them every month, and it's like that's $200 worth of groceries. Like that's one less thing to do. So everything isn't maybe always financial, so that's something to keep in mind. And also, as far as like even other brand deals, I don't know if any of you have tried this, but be annoying. The key of today's panel is be annoying. You have to be annoying. I tag every brand that I feature in anything, tag, that sometimes can then lead to them being like, hey, we saw you mention us in a video. We'd love to send you something or bring you somewhere, or, so tagging and kind of showing their products or whatever in your videos is a great way for free that, you might have to purchase it yourself, but it's a great way to show them you're interested, and maybe next time they might reach out for something or a partnership.
Yeah, the collaboration button on Instagram, that was a godsend.
Oh yeah, they hate me. I'm like, collaborate with everyone. Like,
We have a question in the back. Go ahead.
I know you just talked about it's not all about money, but say a brand reaches out, like he doesn't pick a video, right? And like he gets like the highlighter thing, right? But they're often like, we'll pay you $10,000 for 3 videos. Is alignment more important for like your audience or not? Or would you like, I'll take the
I'm in college, so.
he'll take the money.
Actually, I really do care about alignment. Because you're right, because I think that if I did the eyelash sleeper thing, then people will come to my page and be like, I don't want to just be fed ads all day. So then they won't engage with my stuff anymore. So I do. I think it is a lot more important to promote stuff that you really believe in. And you also don't want to lie to these are the people that willingly follow you, willingly have you preach whatever you want to preach to them. I don't want to mislead them. So yeah, I think it's a lot about alignment.
I was going to say, you're in college, so $10,000 would be helpful for you. I was in college, so I have college debt, so it would be helpful to me. I think something personally I've been working on, it's a great question, is maybe spinning the narrative. If it's something that, if it fully doesn't align with me, I'm not going to do it, right? All money isn't good money, but money is money. And so if I can find an angle of hey, just being honest, this brand sent me this thing, let's see how it works, and find the true results where the brand is happy, et cetera. I think there's a happy kind of balance of I'm meeting what they need, and I'm also being honest with my audience of I don't know what this is, but let's try it. And then you still get paid. I think that's the best way to strike it.
Yeah, I think, again, it's just finding that balance. What is your brand? Mm-hmm. What do you want your viewers to see? I mean, I can't tell you probably in the last 3 to 4 years how many people I used to follow on Instagram, but their accounts just basically became 100% ads, from their feeds to their stories. And I'm I'm not here to have you sell me something 24/7. So again, it's just finding that happy balance with what you want to showcase and what you're okay with featuring.
More questions? Go ahead.
But is it, do you guys like to be hands-on with everything? It sounds like, at least for the person who's taking videos, like to do a 3-day schedule of filming videos and then editing in between. But do you ever just want to film the time and have someone else edit them, that you would have your own special thing?
Yeah, so you can go.
You sure? We'll probably say the same thing. I edit everything. I think it's just I need my voice on it, and I'm too much of a control freak, I think, to let someone else do it. Right now, maybe one day I would let someone do it, but I think for me, my content is just so pertinent to my voice and my lifestyle that I edit everything.
I kind of think it's a level of scalability right now where you can see these people, especially I know streamers are blowing up right now, Speed, or big YouTubers will pump so much content out, which is a strategy, because again, if you're throwing so many darts at a board or you're scratching off so many tickets, you're gonna hit big eventually. That it is kind of a level of scalability. If you're doing YouTube videos, you probably don't have enough time to edit a 45-minute YouTube video to be posting twice a week.
Yep.
So it is a level of scalability, I think.
For my businesses, I do all the editing. I do everything. For my clients that are typically not in state, because I do a lot of Midwest, East Coast, and the South, I will tell them, I'll give them a shot list of videos that I need, and then they put everything in the portal for me, and then I go in and edit it. That's kind of my personality, is that if I'm running your Instagram account, it's got to be my way or no way. So that's the biggest thing for me, is when I'm doing those discovery calls with clients, that I have to have 100% control. And that's one thing I'm working with one client right now, that she's an older client, and it's taking a lot to have her give full control over to me. But we'll get there. We'll get there. So.
All right, we've got 3 minutes.
How would you say your content stands out from other people? Because there's obviously going to be people in the same kind of issues in your space. How do you separate that money?
I'll do it. I think, especially working in cooking, there's a whole panel on cooking. Cooking on the internet is a huge sector, and it continues to be. So everyone gets so obsessed about what should my niche be? Am I going to blow up in this niche? What's the likelihood that I blow up in this niche? I would say the cheat code is look at the most successful people who are getting the most engagement, who are getting the most views, see what they're doing, and then again, kind of like take inspiration. A lot of social media people will talk about formatting.
Yeah.
You'll find a good hook that'll work. You'll like include whatever your value is, and then at the end you can ask them to subscribe or whatever. When you find a format that works, just like spam it. Basically, just keep pumping content out that follows something that works. Because if it works once, it's probably going to work again. So it's kind of about finding your format.
A lot of it's trial and error. I think, especially with the algorithm and things changing left and right, I think, creating that quality content, not just throwing up, 10 pieces of content on Instagram and hopefully one thing sticks, but, having your content pillars, knowing who your ideal client is. I can't stress that enough. That's going to be your biggest way to reach your ideal audience. And just try different things. And if it doesn't work, oh well, you won't do it again. But I always say, do not take something off your feed because it didn't perform well. Because to me, that's not authentic. And people, again, there's trolls out there that will see it, and people that, the imposter syndrome, like, oh, why did Lori take this off? Or I think the newest trend we're seeing now with people like apologizing for a post if they, make a stand on something controversial, political, whatever, and then they take it down because they got a lot of heat for it. And then I'm like, okay, well, I didn't even see the first post. Now I'm seeing an apology. Like, if you're going to post something, you gotta stand to it and why you posted it.
Yeah, I would just add to that by staying consistent, and I think, again, staying true to you, because there's no one like you doing that on the internet. So staying consistent, staying true to that voice that you have, and remembering, you might post 50 videos straight that flop. I've been there where I've had months of like, wow, no one's watching this, but someone is watching it. So, I'll post all these flops, and then you'll get someone being like, we'd love for you to, and you're like, me? Like, did you see that video? But they saw something that you didn't see. You're the hardest critic on yourself, so just remember that.
Because again, they want to see those real moments. They don't want
Right.
to see those pristine videos.
Right, they don't, 10, 20, 30, 40,000 views, that's great, but not always, that doesn't always matter. They want that.
Well, it's just random. I mean,
Yeah.
I run my husband's Instagram account for his photography studio, and we took a video from state wrestling that I just thought it was a cute moment of a kid winning a state title, and we're almost at 1 million views, and we're just like, how did that one piece of content go viral? And it's been since February, and it keeps hitting. And I mean, I like the paycheck from it. I mean, I'm not going to say that, but it's just funny that you just never know what's going to go viral, and then trying to copy it too. It's hard sometimes, but I think being consistent and just keep at it, creating content that's going to convert.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, everybody. So it is 3:30. The Ana Cabrera Lifetime Achievement Award ceremony is in 30 minutes. So if you want to come up and chat with our panelists, let's give them a hand.